Now, I'm going to become absolutely maudlin, that's the word, M-A-U-D-L-I-N, and emotional, and go into ancestor worship and all the rest of it. My father and his people, they pulled tug-of-war, and I think most of the time the tug-of-war matches ended in huge fights. That was part of the comedy of them, and that was part of the charm of them. The men of Loughnageer, the great carnival held in Taman, was the talk of the countryside. It was a great place of amusement and for tournaments besides. Cycle races, skittles, beauty queens drew crowds from far and near. But in the tug-of-war, the prize was won by the men of Loughnageer. The hardy men of gallant blood, strong of muscle and of bone. They have a great sedition at this game. Their past glory is well known. For some veterans of the present team, long ago won higher renown, when all Ireland feared and honoured the name of Brianstown. To defeat these boys of Loughnageer, other teams had held high hope. But Hayestown, Ratine and Tom Cool, the mastered on the rope. When Big Poddy grasped the anchor, the crowd cheered to a man. We ne'er shall fear for Loughnageer, with MacDonald and Moran. The Tom Cool boys, they did qualify to pull the final round. They were strongly fancied to succeed, being on their native ground. But Tom Hanlon gathered up his men, and the vast crowd they did cheer, when Tom Cool did face along the rope the men of Loughnageer. The first pull went to Loughnageer, Tom Cool the second won. When sudden great excitement did startle all Taman, when there arose a mighty din, and Tom Cool man fainted on the rope, they did want a fresh man in. A substitute we can't allow, the committee did explain. 8 men pull 8, no more, no less. The rule is there quite plain. After much dispute and argument, the judge's voice rang clear. I must award the tug-of-war to the men of Loughnageer. Success attend Tom Hanlon, who led his men to fame. Also his brother Willie, an expert at this game. Bill Revel, who had ne'er give in, Peter Whelan too, who stood the strain to bring fame to Loughnageer. Tom Revel, a dauntless hero, on the rope did never slack. And that man of strength and stamina, George Moran of Ballybrack. Tom Bahana is big and bony, and that gorgeous grand Garsoon, MacDonald, big as a battleship, the pride of Kilbastoon. God bless the men of Loughnageer, for courage they won't fail. In the manly sport of tug-of-war, they forever shall prevail. Their sturdy frames and gallant hearts were never known to fear, for champions at the tug-of-war are the men of Loughnageer. Tom Revel, a dauntless hero, on the rope did never slack. And that man of strength and stamina, George Moran of Ballybrack. Tom Bahana, big and bony, and that gorgeous grand Garsoon, MacDonald, big as a battleship, the pride of Kilbastoon. The first time that people would have taken any notice of my recitation was the year in Jude's talent competition, when I practiced Butler Yeats's poem on Parnell for 2 weeks out in the field. There must have been a recession going on in Ireland or something like that at the time, because obviously one wouldn't have much to do if you spent 2 weeks reciting a poem to the ditches. That was a wonderful night, and I did a wonderful recitation of it that night, even if I say that myself. I think I can confidently say that because so many people told me afterwards the same thing. It's one of those poems that Yeats wrote in a simpler idiom, in a simpler diction. It avoids the mythical and somewhat obscurantous complexities of some of his other poetry, which in my opinion is possibly overrated because it is too complex and therefore incomprehensible in part, and I'm not sure that all of the lines in some of the more complex poems actually have a coherent sequential meaning. Anyway, I shall go at this one. It's about Parnell's affair, his relationship with Mrs. Kathleen O'Shea. Parnell was a good bit better at courting the women than either myself or Paddy Kavanagh were. Come gather round me, Parnellites. Come gather round me, Parnellites, and praise our chosen man. Stand upright on your legs a while. Stand upright while you can. For soon we lie where he is laid, and he is underground. Come, fill up all those glasses and pass the bottle round. And here's a cogent reason, and I have many more. He fought the might of England and saved the Irish poor. Whatever good a farmer's got, he brought it all to pass. And here's another reason, that Parnell loved a lass. And here's a final reason. He was of such a kind that every man that sings a song keeps Parnell in his mind. For Parnell was a proud man. No prouder trod the ground. And a proud man's a lovely man, so pass the bottle round. The bishops and the party that tragic story made. A man that had sold his wife and after that betrayed. But stories that live the longest are sung above the glass. For Parnell loved his country and Parnell loved his lass. And here's a final reason. He was of such a kind that every man that sings a song keeps Parnell in his mind. For Parnell was a proud man, no prouder trod the ground. And a proud man's a lovely man, so pass the bottle round. The bishops and the party that tragic story made. A man that had betrayed, I'll go back on that again. The bishops and the party that tragic story made. A man that had sold his wife and after that betrayed. But songs that live the longest are sung above the glass. For Parnell loved his country and Parnell loved his lass.